Kusadasi, Turkey, the gateway to Ephesus. Once a bustling metropolis of the Roman Empire and home to one of the ancient wonders of the world. Now these cities are just echoes of the past and crumbling columns. Still, if you back away from the crowds, you can almost hear the chariots rumbling down the marble streets. For many, Kusadasi is a stopping point on a Mediterranean adventure. For us, it was just the beginning. We were leaving the mainland of Turkey behind for a 7-day cruise through the sparkling blue waters of the Aegean Sea. Along the way, we would explore sun-kissed shores, walk through ruins that whispered tales older than Greece, and experience a few mishaps that kept us on our toes. For those new to my channel, I'm Kevin Wegar. My wife, Christina, introduced me to travel, and exploring the world quickly became one of our true loves. When our children, Cohen and Dylan, were born, we vowed to use world travel as a way to help teach them about culture, nature, and the importance of following your passions. Together, we have explored more than 26 countries across 5 continents, and our adventure is just getting started. If this sounds like something for you, please hit those like and subscribe buttons and join us on our journey. After a week of exploring the capital of Istanbul and the hidden gems of Selçuk and Ephesus, we made our way to the Aegean port of Kusadasi for a 7-day cruise aboard the Celestyal Cruise. Now, I'll admit, I never considered myself a cruise guy before. But hey, who can resist the allure of turquoise water, ancient ruins, and delicious food? So when Celestyal invited my family to enjoy 7 days of paradise, I was all in. Over the next week, Christina, the boys, and I would have a chance to see the marvels of Crete, Santorini, Mykonos, Milos, Athens, and Thessaloniki, before returning to Kusadasi and continuing our 4 weeks of travel through Turkey. While we were boarding the Celestyal Cruise in Kusadasi, most of the ship's guests were out exploring Turkey's second most famous attraction after Istanbul, the ancient ruins of Ephesus, something that we had done the day before. Check out the link in our description for our video on our visit to Selçuk and Ephesus. Once on board, we got busy exploring the ship to learn more about our home for the next week. From the sun-soaked shores of Turkey, we charted a course for Crete, the cradle of Minoan civilization. Now, let's be honest. We're the kind of travelers who usually wing it. No pre-booked tours, no rigid itineraries. But on an island as vast and storied as Crete, a little local knowledge goes a long way. Enter Milos, our taxi-driving guardian, who we met at the end of the port as we stumbled off the ship. With a lifetime of island tales at his fingertips, he became our guide in the heart of Crete's labyrinthine past. we were introduced to some of the island's most beautiful locations. And a few off-the-beaten-path gems. But all roads in Crete lead to the Palace of Knossos, a sprawling complex of sun-baked stone and faded frescoes. Here, amidst the ruins of a civilization lost to time, we walked in the footsteps of kings and queens. The reconstruction of these 3,700-year-old ruins is fraught with controversy. But even though it's as much a tourist trap as a proper archaeological site, wandering the alleys of this ancient city was a humbling experience. And yet, here we were, a family of explorers, touching the same stones, breathing the same air as those who came before. Now, that's what I call a travel moment. After saying goodbye to Manos, we made our way back to the ship for some dinner and relaxation before another big day on our Greek Islands cruise. Santorini, a postcard that's come to life. The kind of place that's been photographed so much that I needed to know if it could possibly live up to the hype. We knew Santorini would be packed, especially at the height of the summer travel season. So we opted to use our Celestyal Cruises tour credit here, where we could get help navigating the crowds. Surprisingly, our first stop wasn't the iconic village of Oia, but rather the quiet village of Megalokori. Now this is the real Santorini. Narrow alleyways twist and turn. Sunlight filters through bougainvillea-draped arches. The pace of Megalokori is slow. The kind of town where locals sip thick coffee on cafe patios, and the air thick with the scent of jasmine. It's the kind of place where you can get lost in the moment, forget about the outside world, and just be. But we were on a pre-booked tour and deadlines were tight. So we were brought back to reality pretty quickly, boarding the bus for our next stop. Because no trip to Santorini is complete without a visit to Oia. It's touristy for sure, but there's a reason that this is the most iconic place in Greece. The views are simply jaw-dropping. We jostled for position with selfie sticks and tripods, but hey, even in the chaos, there's magic to be found. A quiet cafe tucked away on a side street, the perfect cold treat melting in the afternoon sun. The blue-roofed buildings might be the most famous place in Santorini, but sometimes the best moments are the ones you stumble upon when you least expect them. After a long wait for the cable car down to the port of Santorini, we were all ready for a quiet dinner and a show aboard the Celestial Crystal before calling it a night. Mykonos, Greece's playground for the rich and famous. It's often marketed as a hedonistic haven of sun-drenched beaches and all-night parties. But beneath the glitz and glamour, there's a soul to this island, a rhythm that pulses just beyond the reach of the cruise ship crowds. We ditched the prepackaged tours and struck out to explore Mykonos on our own, feet pounding the cobblestones of Kora, the island's beating heart. The city's waterfront is a maze of whitewashed alleys, where every turn reveals a splash of color, a flower-draped balcony, a cerulean blue door, a glimpse of the Aegean shimmering in the distance. We dodged selfie sticks and designer sunglasses to knock off some of the city's most famous locations before seeking out the hidden corners where Mykonos reveals its true self. An open-air cinema tucked away in a quiet square, and the smell of freshly baked bread wafting from a family-run bakery. And then there it was, Hosbrand. The oldest bakery on the island is a local institution. We stepped inside, the air thick with the aroma of butter and honey. Forget the overpriced cocktails and designer boutiques. This is the Mykonos we came for. The Mykonos of everyday life, of simple pleasures, laundry hanging across alleys, and the breadth of traditions passed down through generations. It's the kind of place that gets under your skin, that leaves you wanting more long after the cruise ship has sailed away. The sun was sinking low, but our day on Mykonos wasn't over. The ship was setting sail late that night, which gave us a chance to enjoy a sunset swim at a local beach. The ideal way to end a family adventure on Mykonos. Milos, a relatively unknown Greek island. It's a place of hidden coves and lunar landscapes. We arrived knowing little and expecting less, and we left with a piece of our hearts forever anchored to its shores. Forget tour buses and crowded beaches. Here, the only way to truly experience Milos is to hit the open road, the wind in your hair, and the sun on your face. We rented a tiny car with an even tinier engine, but it got the job done. Santorini Beach was our first stop. It was like stepping onto another planet. Smooth, white rock formations sculpted by the elements, a stark contrast to the impossibly turquoise water. We clambered over rocks, plunging into the cool depths and feeling the salt sting our skin and the sun bake our bones. It was the kind of place that makes you feel small, insignificant, and yet strangely alive. One of the beach's best-known features is a towering rock arch, where adrenaline junkies leap off into the emerald waters below. I wanted to show the boys that Daddy's still got it. And the second my feet left the rocks, my GoPro departed, opting to spend the rest of its days at the bottom of the ocean. Then there was Klima, a village clinging to the cliffs, its houses painted in a rainbow of hues. We wandered through the narrow streets, peering into the Sirmata, our ancient boat garages carved into the rock. And yes, we found her, the island's most famous resident, the Venus de Milo, or at least a faithful replica. Even in plaster, she exudes a timeless beauty, a reminder of the island's rich history. Milos isn't just an island, It's an experience. It's the taste of fresh seafood grilled over an open fire, the sound of waves crashing against the shore, and the feeling of the sun on your skin. The ship left port late in the afternoon, giving Christina and I the chance to enjoy a quiet walk on the deck, where we caught one of those magical Mediterranean sunsets. Mainland Greece, the grand finale of our Aegean Odyssey. My family had tasted Athens' chaotic charm on a visit to the city just a few months earlier. This time, we went off script. No tour guides, no pre-planned itineraries. Just us and the sprawling metropolis. We got lost in the labyrinthine streets, the Acropolis looming overhead like a benevolent giant. The city hummed with life, street vendors hawking their wares, the smell of souvlaki grilling on every corner, and of course, the ice cream. Creamy, sweet, a perfect antidote to the Athenian heat. While Athens was a deeper dive into familiar territory, the real mainland surprise came the next day with a visit to Thessaloniki. This city, often overlooked by tourists, seduced us with its unexpected beauty. Wide boulevards lined with elegant buildings and a waterfront promenade buzzing with energy. We climbed the White Tower, its white stone gleaming in the afternoon sun. From its ramparts, the city unfolded before us. We made our way up the wide Parisian-style streets to Hadrian's Wall, before making a stop at the Hagia Sophia. No, not that Hagia Sophia, which we'd seen while exploring Istanbul, but one that uniquely parallels that of its more famous sister. On our last night aboard the Celestyal Cruise, we caught one of the ship's amazing Cirque du Soleil style shows. A fun way to end what was an eye-opening adventure. As I said, I'm not a cruise guy per se, but I loved that Celestyal's itinerary was more about the destination than the ship. Sure, we had great food, wonderful warm hosts, a beautiful and comfortable room, and more smoothies than the kids could handle. But the focus was on the experiences, not the ride. And, at least in my opinion, that is where the heart of travel should always lie. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in family adventure travel, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. It really does help us. We'll see you next time on Wandering Wagars Adventure Family Travel.